So far, that is coming your way at the top of the hour from Madison Square Garden in the Big East semifinals. We're back to wrap up sports.
It's Friday night in the city, but not the end of just any week. It's the end of the annual fight that is the Big East Championship. We've seen spectacular individual achievements, some enough, some not. Dreams have been dashed and expectations exceeded. The chill-providing moments that make March special, like Villanova in double OT. And in the quarterfinals, Rutgers. Jeff Billett leads Cinderella. Tonight, a date with seeds 1, 2, and 3 for a big old Friday night on the town. ESPN's live and exclusive tip-to-trophy coverage of the AT&T Big East Championship continues from Madison Square Garden. The AT&T Big East quarterfinals leave us Connecticut, Rutgers, Syracuse, and St. John's to battle in our Friday night primetime doubleheader. Welcome as Championship Week presented by 7-Up continues with Len Elmore, Mike Tirico. Rutgers, they are the Championship Week kind of team that you rally around. These guys, they lost 7 of 9 games in January. They were a bad team. They're coming together. They've got a guy who personifies them in Jeff Billett, but can they do it tonight against UConn?
Well, when we talk about parity in college basketball, this is it. And we've seen it throughout the country in conference tournaments. There's little difference on a night when you're one and done between a top 10 team and a 500 team. But if there is a difference, it's attitude. And Rutgers has it. They beat 2 teams that they weren't supposed to beat to get here. And tonight, I guess they'd sum up their attitude in 2 words, actually. Why not?
Why not? We're here. We might as well. And a lot of their fans have come to 37 miles from Piscataway to the Garden. Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps are in the studio. They'll get the table set for the rest of the night. And then it's Rutgers against UConn. The best of the Big East all year. With all the big names and all the stars, their eyes on a title.
Welcome, Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps. 13 conferences and tournament action tonight. The Rutgers fans have come from Weehawken and Hoboken and East Brunswick on the trains. What do they have to see a victory?
Well, hopefully Rutgers still has a little bullet in the billet, because if he can do the hat trick, then it comes down to how do you guard El-Amin? If they have to chase him around all night, get tired in the second half, that could be a factor.
Rutgers is the Eastern Cinderella. The Midwestern Cinderella in the Garden, guys.
And Chris, the interesting part of the night, you have Rutgers with their fans, as you said, taking the train. St. John's, Syracuse, a big following in the city, and UNLV on its home floor. Interesting part of Championship Week. Here are the starting lineups, the AT&T starting lineups for Rutgers. Only the senior Eric Clark, not a lot of size. Johnson and Bill at the backcourt with Greer, Hodgson, and Clark. Hodgson played point guard for his father in high school. He's a heady player. For the University of Connecticut, a great season. 27-4. El-Amin and Moore in the backcourt with Freeman, Hamilton, and the improving Voskuhl up front. Ricky Moore was the glove shutting down Jeff Billett, keeping him without a field goal in the second meeting between these teams. There is Richard Hamilton, Big East Player of the Year, first team all-conference as well. Scoring a lot in his last 5, just under his average, but well below his field goal percentage average. Averaged 46% for the season, just 33% over the last 5. Jeff Billett has been the emotional leader for this team and the productive man as well. Over these first 2 wins over West Virginia and Georgetown. Jim Bird, Jody Sylvester, Mike Kitts, the officials. Connecticut in white starts with the ball.
And Rutgers starts in a man-to-man defense. Jeff Billett matched up against Ricky Moore. You're going to see that matchup on both ends all evening.
Followed El-Amin, checked by Earl Johnson, the 3. Hamilton, the rebound. This is his first here tonight. The rebound for Jeff Greer, a freshman.
The last time these 2 teams met, UConn out-rebounded Rutgers 44-25, including 16 offensive rebounds.
The cutting Johnson lost it. Rutgers ball. The head coach at Rutgers is Kevin Bannon, age 40. You may remember him from Rider College. Took them to the NCAAs a couple of times. A Jersey guy. Played high school in Jersey. Coached at 2 different schools. Rutgers' his 3rd stop in the Garden State. Off the miss transition. Freeman with more. Charge. Drawn by Hodgson. On the other sideline, it is Jim Calhoun. 415 career wins, hit the 500 win mark this year, and he is the man who has single-handedly turned around the Connecticut program. Always a good program within the East, but now a big boy nationally. El-Amin, the foul.
And certainly with the emphasis on program, Jim Calhoun likes to point out the fact that with his program, he's left something that will stay long after he's gone, that type of monument, and that's very important to him. As we had a chance to take a look in the previous possession by Connecticut, they're very eager to get out and run, a little bit out of control.
Hodgson inside, Voskuhl turned it away, Clark the rebound. Eric Clark missed it, and Jake Voskuhl, tallest player on the floor, comes away. El-Amin stepped on the sideline.
Little fella tried to do a tightrope on the side, but it was a poor outlet pass by Voskuhl. Voskuhl fighting off 3 black shirts on the offensive glass. You can tell that Rutgers had the last game in mind when they were out-rebounded badly, and they were really bad on their offensive glass.
Kevin Freeman drew that early charge. That's why Rochmel Jones has come into the lineup. Freeman a quick chair next to Calhoun. Eric Clark will go to the line. The size battle clearly belongs to UConn. They are taller most places around the court.
Yeah, but despite that, you can't give up that kind of position inside because Clark is a very good post player. He's got good moves inside. He's able to make contact. Look at the contact he made with Voskuhl to draw the foul. I don't care how tall you are. If you give a guy who has any type of ability inside that kind of position on the paint, you're going to be in trouble.
Eric Clark, it's only 60% of his free throws, 7 of 14, but big ones down the stretch in the win over West Virginia. Rutgers comes in as the 12 seed. They knocked out 5 seed West Virginia by 7. The 13 seed Georgetown by 1 on the Billet buzzer beater we showed you earlier. First points for the Scarlet Knights. El-Amin, a point guard who loves to shoot.
Well, you saw in that particular play a nice big wide pick set by Voskuhl just to free up El-Amin 1 step around the corner to get into the paint. I think Rutgers is going to have to make an adjustment. The guy guarding Voskuhl is going to have to step up and kind of push El-Amin out laterally and not let him get that quick turn into the paint.
Connecticut's pressure turns people over. Rutgers handled it that time. They don't go full court press as much as they used to, but it's still something that sticks in your mind and factors into the game. Ricky Moore out on Earl Johnson. Billet, first 3 of the night. Jeff Greer got a hand on it, but it's out of bounds off Rutgers. Kevin Freeman back in after the 1 minute of conversation on the bench. Freeman was out of control and picked up a charge on Connecticut's second possession. El-Amin, unanimous selection to the all-rookie team. Voskuhl tracks it down with 15 left on the shot clock.
Connecticut's got a little adrenaline going. They're running their sets, but guys are just going a lot faster than maybe the timing calls for.
El-Amin, the head fake, got close. Voskuhl up strong. Free throws for Freeman.
And once again, it bears repeating, the last game, 16 offensive rebounds for UConn and made the difference in that ball game. And today they're still picking up where they left off on the glass. You look at Voskuhl right there. As Clark went to the penetration, Voskuhl made up the room. And then it was just a question of keeping it alive until Freeman got fouled. But once you have penetration, that was a perfect example of how the opposing center has to go to it. And your guy can just get the best position he can on the glass. And Jake Voskuhl did the job.
1 more for Freeman. In the top 10 in the Karam column in the conference this year. As a freshman, a scholar athlete at the University of Connecticut. Played his high school ball with Tim Thomas, now in the NBA. Rutgers, pretty much an iron 5. They bring 2 players off the bench, and that is it. So playing a 3rd game in 3 days, will it factor? Billet, Hamilton, all over him. No chance to get the shot off.
Well, Jeff Billett just hasn't been able to get any looks whatsoever. That time, I think he forced it a little bit, trying to get himself into the ball game.
El-Amin pulled up. Missed the two. Collin 1 of 4 in the early going. Clark around Freeman. Nice move by Eric Clark.
Excellent footwork by Clark. He got himself low, head and shoulders past his man, and found an opening.
The undersized senior center. Hamilton lost his man. Came up short. So Hamilton and El-Amin have missed 6 of their first 7 shot attempts.
Well, we saw Hamilton out here before the game shooting a bunch of jump shots. They were all long range, but here inside the three-point area, it seems like he's pulling the shot.
Great space inside again for Clark. Got bodied. No travel first. Michael Kitts had the correct call.
Well, Kevin Bannon put that quiz look on his face. The bottom line was that Voskuhl did a nice job of keeping his position, didn't leave his feet despite the fakes by Clark, and Clark had no place to go.
Neither team lighting the world up. This is much like the North Carolina State game this afternoon on ESPN.
You see that pass? Hamilton threw it too early. Voskuhl wasn't set.
Rear nice cut. Great block by Monquincio Hardnett. Rutgers ball after this official timeout. Slow start, not because of lack of aggression. UConn down 1. 7 from the field in the first 4:13. Rutgers by 1.
Well, I talked about the fact that Connecticut too fast. Right there, you see Jake Voskuhl setting up to get himself a pick to get open inside. But there again, Richard Hamilton didn't wait until the defense cleared, threw the ball before Voskuhl was in good position and created that turnover. Voskuhl really never got set. And it's been happening throughout Connecticut's offense. They've got to take their time a little bit. I think they're very anxious right now.
Jake blocked the shot that sets up this Rutgers possession. Same 5 for the Scarlet Knights. Monquincio Hardnett in for Khalid El-Amin for the Huskies. Hodgson got a quick step. Clark rolls to the goal.
Again, you can see where penetration is a killer, and it doesn't matter who makes the penetration. That time Hodgson recognized the mismatch with Voskuhl on him, took him to the cup.
There is Hardnett, who at times can come in and score 10, 12 points, and other nights he'll give you nothing. Hamilton, tough shot with Greer right next to him. Well, despite all that shooting, a lot of which Richard Hamilton did on this end of the floor, he's struggling right now.
Well, he is, and again, he's not getting set, and I still believe that UConn is rushing their offense a little bit. What's going to relax them maybe is to create some turnovers, get some buckets in transition, so that these shots now don't come with the anxiety. They're shooting so poorly right now. Every time a shot goes up, they're starting to think about it instead of reacting instinctively.
Earl Johnson missed the 3. Ricky Moore takes over the point when El-Amin's on the bench. He was Connecticut's starting point guard last year.
The best antidote to poor shooting from the outside is to try to get a few easy ones. Get that field goal percentage up so that you don't believe that the whole world counts on one shot.
Voskuhl thought Freeman was going to come out. He didn't. Jake's going to come out of the game. El-Amin comes in as well as Suleiman Wan.
UConn sets up their pressure once again. Again, the idea is to try to create some turnovers now.
Break the 2-2-1. Clark cuts to the goal. Offensive foul on Eric Clark. His second.
Well, sometimes you think an offensive foul is caused by a player running in and knocking another player down. Suleiman Wan, a nice job of just taking position right there. That's pretty close. It went UConn's way.
Almost got to let it all go there.
Well, you're not going to knock Wan down, especially when you're trying to avoid him.
Sewell is 6'11", 235. Hardnett explosive.
And those are the kinds of shots you're talking about. You get the close one. That takes a lot of pressure off your offense. And here again, trying to create turnover situation. Hardnett decides he wants to take a charge. He gets called for the block.
Earlier action down in North Carolina. as well as the Big Ten, including that surprise of Minnesota. Final Four last year, still with a pulse beating this year. They'd have to go the route, though, in Chicago. Johnson passes out of the double. Greer got close. The freshman misfired. And UConn starting to look like the top seed.
Starting to look like UConn. That's right. They get on track offensively. Nice job. Look at all the black shirts in the paint once the ball goes inside.
El-Amin a three, and Suleiman Wan helped draw the defense in, then kicked it out.
Nice job of drawing the defense in.
Press broken. Now what do they do with it? Back it out. Alvidas Tanis, 0-0 in the paint for Rutgers. He's the guy who came in when Clark picked up that second personal. No open spaces for Billett to shoot. Now the shot clock will factor in. Greer a three. Finally, a perimeter shot goes down. Jeff Greer, the freshman from the Bronx. Right back the other way. Offensive foul on Hamilton.
Just when you think UConn's offense is working great. On this play, you see Suleiman Wan here. Look at the black shirts. 4 guys inside the paint. Wan recognizes that and sees a wide open El-Amin diagonal to him. You draw the defense in, you look outside. Wan does a nice job. But then on the next possession, Richard Hamilton, still in a hurry, draws the offensive foul.
Connecticut 5 team fouls. But a deeper team, so their foul problems wouldn't be as much of an impact as for Rutgers. And Sanders just off the bench. Johnson a long pass. Fortunate to find Tanis. Off of Wan, but they have the foul on Tanis, I believe, first. Let's see. Jody Sylvester with the call from the outside, and that's what it will be. Foul on Tanis, so UConn ball.
You take a look at Suleiman Wan. This is a guy who's had limited experience in playing basketball, but Jim Calhoun told us maybe about a month earlier when we were doing a game that this guy is developing. He's only had about 60-some-odd games under his belt, but he shows all the signs. Very intelligent, picks up the game nicely.
Raw talent from Senegal, became eligible second semester. Speaks beautiful English, very intelligent young man.
And I was talking about high school games, included interest, right? That's 60-some-odd games.
Mature at age 22. Hardnet. Freeman and Wan were in the same place.
Boy, you can't help but noticing how badly Connecticut's timing is off right now. And again, I attribute it to anxiety. They're in this game. They're probably trying to do more at this time than they necessarily have to.
And Sanders spinning through the lane. Wan changed that shot and blocked Hudson. Out of bounds off Rutgers. Suleiman Wan.
Suleiman is the man.
Best stretch of minutes Wan has played in a close game in some time. Official timeout. The 1 seed down 1.
The Demon Deacons' Robert O'Kelly would like to still be playing basketball on St. Patrick's Day, but to do so, Wake might need to beat Clemson. O'Kelly with 3 threes so far for the right to play Duke. It's Wake Forest by 7. In Conference USA, the Bearcats on their home floor lead a surging UAB team by 4, Mike.
And it's an important game for UAB, one of the bubble teams in Conference USA.
Well, you take a look at Richard Hamilton right now, back on the floor after Jim Calhoun gave him a little bit of time to gain some perspective. But the problem with the UConn offense right now is that each time they misfire, each time their timing is off, it puts a lot of pressure on them the next possession. They've got to be able to settle down. You do that on your defense, create some turnovers, get some easy shots, or you find the one person who can create something easy for themselves and, again, make everybody relax. It'll probably have to be El-Amin with some penetration.
Bosco back in. Roshnell Jones for Freeman, the only non-starter on the floor. That's Jones with the ball.
Rutgers playing his own right now. They changed up a 1-3-1 on this inbound.
Shot clock. You see in the left, El-Amin, NBA 3. Greer goes up and gets it for Rutgers. Play the backboard as Earl Johnson gets a moment on the bench. Alvidas Tanis, 7-footer, takes Bosco across the lane and took a walk through the city.
I'll tell you, with the move that he made, he would have been much better off just putting the ball up to the hoop. I don't think he would have been called for travel on that, but it wound up as a pass. Much more obvious. Rutgers staying with the zone. Actually, are they covering the man going through? No, they're going man-to-man now. They matched up.
Sanders out on El-Amin. Billett watching more.
You know, the best way to tell if a team's playing his zone is send a cutter through. And if the player follows the cutter, you know they're playing man-to-man.
Little weave out high. El-Amin keeps shooting. Keeps missing. Bosco got fouled. Going to that board.
And as I mentioned, the way to take the pressure off each succeeding possession is to get an easy one. Right now, UConn's settling for the long jump shots.
El-Amin is 2 of 7 from the field.
It's interesting. Now Ricky Moore takes the ball. More experienced in the backcourt. Again, maybe he can direct a higher percentage shot. That's what's important in this possession for UConn.
7 points in 10 minutes. For the number 1 seed, 6th in the nation, RPI of 5.
Just the way the Knights like it, though.
UConn has not found an open shot. No turnover. El-Amin locates Hamilton. Oh, they got a break there.
But even that short sequence, that's what it's all about. El-Amin created an easier opportunity with his penetration. They got to seek to do that.
Hudson's pass knocked out of bounds by Ricky Moore. Well, we're all building towards Sunday. And the selection special, 6:30 Eastern. Chris and Digger, joined by Dick Vitale and Quinn Buckner. Follow the team you've been with since Midnight Madness. We had it at the start and then at the end. Presented by GTE, the Women's NCAA Selection Special, presented by State Farm, with Robin Roberts, Mimi Griffin, and Rebecca Lobo. Sam Sanders misfired, and it will be Connecticut ball. We are 1 hour on that selection special at 6:30 Eastern, so we'll just throw the brackets up and let you figure it out yourself. We'll break them all down, hear from some folks who are on the bubble, and then the ladies selection special right after that.
That miss by Sam Sanders, as we call that on the playground, buzzard's luck, who did everything but go down.
There's been a lot of that going around here. Teams are 7 of 27 shooting in the early going. El-Amin blocked by Tenise.
It's a good thought, though. That's exactly what their offense needs. Just a good job defensively by Tenise.
Rotated for the open 3 from Johnson. Bosco saved it. To a Scarlet Knight. Sanders. Bosco fouled him. You got the big man up in the air to commit and cause the contact.
Well, Sam Sanders, he's not going to back down. He's one of those 6'4" guys that likes to play on the baseline.
Second on Jake. In the act, it will be 2 shots for Sam Sanders. Sam Sanders is from St. Petersburg, Florida, and the sophomore had one of those neat opportunities against a good team in South Florida. He goes down there, and he had a good game, 12 points and 7 rebounds, and that was one of the reasons Sam Sanders started to become part of the rotation for Kevin Bannon's team.
Well, he gives you energy coming off the bench. Again, at 6'4" with great leaping ability. He can roam the baseline, find those little openings right under the basket, and explode, draw fouls, as well as get some easy hoops.
Fans of Husky Nation will not be happy that in 11.5 minutes, their team has 2 more turnovers than made field goals. All right, guys, 12 minutes. Somebody get into double digits here. Come on. It in part has been good defense. Like that deflection by Earl Johnson, 12 on the shot clock.
Well, I would definitely give the defense a lot of credit. They've been able to cover the shooters on the wing. They've also changed up defenses, confusing UConn, but also UConn's in a lot of a hurry on the offensive end. They've slowed down a bit. They're more deliberate right now. Plus, their defense hasn't turned Rutgers over at all.
There'll be another force here with the clock running down. Did not get it off. Shot clock violation. The Scarlet Knights are really doing a good job defensively.
That was probably the best defensive effort we've seen tonight. Again, playing people off the pick, shutting down the shooters on the wing, and nobody makes an attempt to penetrate.
12 minutes. Connecticut, 9 points, 8 turnovers. Tie game.
ACC quarter, Wake Forest trying to avenge a 25-point loss at Clemson a month ago. Robert O'Kelly's been the story. O'Kelly fouled, the three-pointer goes. A 4-point play. O'Kelly with 13. Meanwhile, his former team, Johnny Miller, the man who fouled his former team, leading George Washington by 3, Mike.
All right, Chris, thank you. That ACC game's on the deuce, Lenny.
Well, I'll tell you this. A lot of people talk about Deion Glover from Georgia Tech as possibly the rookie of the year with the ACC. My vote is with Robert O'Kelly. There's not a more explosive, exciting player, particularly first-year player in the ACC.
Their award's not out yet like the Big East, where El-Amin of Connecticut was the rookie of the year. Here we're tied at 9. The 1-seed Connecticut, the 12-seed Rutgers. Read his Tennis missed. Suleiman Wan, he's been the best Husky in the first half.
Good push by Hartnett.
Hamilton looking for space, travels to get it. Well, the first 2 meetings between these teams, the first one set back basketball a little bit. It was ugly. Connecticut won by 15. The Knights a school record for scoring futility. A little better played second game. The Connecticut won in stores on their campus by 17.
Sam Sanders was at a showboat. Too early for that.
Hodgson trying to get some space with Freeman. Earl Johnson. Juan comes out on him. Where's the mismatch? Tennis couldn't hang on.
Hey, that was excellent help by Juan. Stepping out, hedging, if you will, and picking up the point guard off the pick.
Suleiman looks very into this game. Rotates El-Amin. A little stagnant here for the Connecticut offense. One had his jersey held by Tennis, but still hit.
And I'm going to tell you, that's exactly what the UConn offense is lacking, a post presence, somewhere where they can go inside and make the defense adjust. And if Suleiman Wan can give him a couple of more of those baskets, it's going to help El-Amin, and it's going to help Richard Hamilton an awful lot.
Hodgson tries to take Freeman off the dribble. The high school point guard Hodgson got the rebound. Stays with the Scarlet Knights. Richard Hamilton, we showed you earlier, his field goal percentage has been down over the last couple of weeks of the season. 1 for 4 here tonight. But back in the lineup.
But, you know, he's a gamer, though. He's one of those kinds of guys that'll hit you with a streak.
Gets his points. Earl Johnson breaks the streak of 6 missed Rutgers field goal attempts. We are all even at 11.
Once again, as much as Connecticut would like to force the pace and quicken it, Rutgers has just done a nice job of controlling this tempo with their defense in half court as well as on offense.
How much energy, in your estimation, is Rutgers expending? Because we're going to have the same thing we talked about in the Villanova game last night with third game in 3 days and tired legs. Tennis fouled Hamilton.
Well, they're definitely playing an intense type of defense in the half court. On the other side, the pressure's not really bothering them. They're shuttling guys back and forth to handle the ball. So I think they've kind of spread the, I guess, the effort against the pressure. But I think, again, we're going to see something in the second half if this thing gets quickened by Connecticut, and that's what they're trying to do.
Billets at 1 minute of the first 2 games for Rutgers, but as we said, they only go 7 deep. Hamilton has one more, and one more point as we consider fatigue for Billett and the rest of the Scarlet Knights. They played a day game yesterday, so they had a little more rest, 4 or 5 hours. I don't know how much of an impact that would be, but we throw it out there for you to consider.
It makes a lot of difference, particularly if you can continue to get fluids in and put your legs up. But I think they're doing a nice job, again, of spreading the responsibility against the pressure. Sometimes Johnson's handling, sometimes Billett's handling, sometimes Hodgson handling.
Greer is their starting 3. He can play either guard spot, though. Johnson short on a 3. Hodgson had it taken away. Here is Hartnett with El-Amin and Hamilton.
Shooting some more free throws. Well, that's the kind of stuff UConn wants. Again, active defensively, creating a turnover, and then pushing it up the floor. Take a look at the break here. El-Amin does a nice job of threading the needle, finding Hamilton streaking on the right side. And again, I think he also looked at Hamilton because he wants to get him off. You know, this opportunity right now from the free throw line will do an awful lot to take the pressure off of Hamilton the next time he looks at a jump shot.
Conference Player of the Year, National Player of the Year candidate, a finalist for some of the major awards. There's Antrick Claver, and Suleiman Wan gets a very good hand and a very warm reception at the Connecticut bench.
And deservedly, because he gave them a presence inside on the offensive end that really helped them create some opportunities for other people as well as themselves. Defensively, he wasn't bad either, swatting a few away.
Huskies by 4. 5 minutes left, first half in New York. First of 2 semifinals. El-Amin the steal, has company, took it himself.
Well, just at the moment of the steal, I was going to remark how Rutgers has now spread the floor, creating a lot of room between the passer and the handler. And El-Amin recognized and shot the gap on that one. Excellent anticipation. That's the type of team UConn is on the defensive end. They love to anticipate. They love to gamble.
Huskies score 6 in a row, and Rutgers takes the 20.
Well, you take a look right there. You saw in the tail end, El-Amin recognizing and shooting the gap. And those, as I mentioned, are the easy baskets that take the pressure off you in the half-court set. So every time you take a jump shot, you can't think, oh, gee, I'm 0 for 4 right now. This might be 0 for 5. You start to relax when you know that your defense is working.
Connecticut struggled offensively in the Providence game, beating Providence 64-55, and have struggled offensively here early. Johnson single-handedly breaking the press. Hodgson keeps trying to get something in this lane. Keeps coming up short, but Denise with the putback. Arvidas Denise breaks the drought for the Scarlet Knights.
Nice little weave by UConn. Again, trying to get a switch, but they make a mistake on the end by forcing.
Johnson saw Billett. Too many people in his way to get him there. Billett was out of bounds. Never established back inbounds. Husky ball.
That last possession by UConn was very well conceived. It was a nice fundamental weave back and forth, and the effort there is to try to get somebody picked off, trying to get a Rutgers man to lose his assignment and then look for an opening down the middle. Well, they get it, and then the mistake is you overpass.
Wan right back in for UConn. Jones, Ricky Moore, and Hamilton, the perimeter play with El-Amin. Here is Hamilton. Dumped down to Wan, was denied.
A repeat of the last possession. Again, overpassing.
Denise was battling for position, and I think this time they got Suleiman. A little forearm in the back on Arvidas Denise. And Senegal against Lithuania in the paint.
Yes, this is an international game, Michael.
An international conference. Lithuania, we'll see another Lithuanian coming up a little bit later on with Ulis for Syracuse.
And we've been able to see it throughout this tournament with the various players on the various teams. And, you know, they come with a very interesting and fresh perspective as they come to this country. You know, they don't take anything for granted, and these guys put forth the effort. You know, it just seems they're just happy to be here.
There was a negative stereotype on foreign players. They're coming over for a quick fix for coaches. That was some of the case when Karnisovas was at Seton Hall and some of those players. But you're right, the educational experience is kind of taking that stigma away. 2 from Denise. The Huskies are a frustrated bunch. The Scarlet Knights are hanging around. They're down 2 to the #1 seed.
In the Atlantic 10, you expect GW and Temple to play a bump and grind kind of game. Inside, Leonard Stewart. Work it, gets the hoop, gets the foul. GW had tied the game. Now it's the Owls back up by 3. And at Kemper, Texas has clawed back to tie the Cowboys. Back to Mike and Len in the Garden.
Texas the only lower seed, Chris, to win in the Big 12 opening day yesterday, and they have moved on to the quarterfinals. Chris and the Iron Man Digger. Digger does day and night session championship week. They will join us with all scores, highlights, and brackets and bubbles at the break. Here, the 1 seed leads by just 2, and they are still sluggish offensively. El-Amin up 3.
Nice exchange between El-Amin and Ricky Moore. That time, the Rutgers defense did not rotate over to El-Amin, paying a lot of attention to the ball.
El-Amin has half the Husky 20. Who's going to be the offensive answer on this end? Greer. Fancy post feed for Tanis, who couldn't finish.
Tanis was right there. He just didn't realize he was right there.
1. Shakes El-Amin 3. Couldn't put the rebound back. That's off Hamilton.
Well, just in case anybody's wondering if they just tuned in about this low score, it's definitely been a combination of pretty good defense. Rutgers has been sagging in. They've been switching off picks, really covering the shooters on the board. But on the other end, for Connecticut, it's just been a case of them rushing a little bit. You know, a lot of anxiety on the offensive end. Rutgers likes to play at this pace. They're very comfortable.
Tanis out of his range. That one was in his range. 6 for Tanis.
Hey, that one was in my range.
1 got fouled by Tanis, and that would be his 3rd. Jim Calhoun's team has not seen a dry offensive half like this quite often. In the St. John's game, that was in here. They scored 20 in this half thus far.
And I think the same thing happened in that game that's happening here, and that's what frustrates Jim Calhoun, the fact that the other team is dictating the tempo right now. They are in control. I'm talking about the Scarlet Knights. And his team can't seem to get on track offensively, nor can they turn them over to change the tempo.
Juan rarely shoots free throws, just his 16th attempt of the year, but he made it up getting the 2 on the window.
That was a good job by Richard Hamilton that time on the offensive glass.
We mentioned that foul on Tanis was his 3rd. There is no pivot man for Rutgers. Thompson is their biggest player. Sanders, Juan changed it. Jody Sylvester from way outside has the foul on UConn. Love the way Suleiman came to play here on semifinal Friday.
Well, he got his opportunity. Probably didn't expect it, but he's making the most of it. Again, changing shots. I mentioned it before. He's a presence inside. He did foul on that final one, but right here, excellent job forcing Sanders to change up. But you got to give Sanders credit, too. We talked about attitude. If you take a look at Juan, you know, Sanders exemplifies that Rutgers attitude. No back down. He went up against a 6'11 guy 2, 3, 4 times with no hesitation.
Speaking of no hesitation, El-Amin missed the 3. That is off Rutgers' career and a toe on the sideline. Kevin Bannon disagreed.
Again, we talked about the frustration of Jim Calhoun and the inability to control the tempo of this game. And if they don't rush and take a step back and look and see what the Scarlet Knights have given them on defense, they might be better served.
Jim keeps working up that bench, trying to find one of the assistants to say, where's the right combination? And he's been shuttling people in and out, and the cohesive unit has not been there yet for UConn.
Well, he's looking for all different kinds of combinations. Richard Hamilton out on the floor right now.
El-Amin, tough shot with Billard in his mug.
And no white shirt on the offensive glass.
Greer settles it down. Rutgers has been dreadful from the field. 6 of 27, but going to 3. Keeps it close.
And you got to admire the way Billard has let the game come to him. He's been frustrated by the great defense of Ricky Moore. Not an awful lot of open looks. But when he does get it, he takes his time, he settles.
Nice look to Freeman from Ricky Moore. 40 seconds to the 7-up halftime report with Chris and Digger. Greer traveled. Look out. This is where UConn is dangerous. Well, Sunday, if you want to take a basketball break, we have Prime Star 500 for you on ABC Sports. Dale Earnhardt, the Daytona 500 champion, will be there, as well as Gordon, Wallace, Martin, and the rest of the crew. 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific from Atlanta on ABC Sports. These coaches are intense. Rutgers is playing with the emotion and adrenaline of Cinderella, and also with the reality of if they lose, their season's done.
And that's why, again, we want to make the point of the fact that the difference between these two teams right now is essentially attitude and certainly effort. And what's happening with Rutgers, they understand that. They've done a nice job. They've executed defensively particularly very well, not allowing UConn to step this thing up, not allowing them to dominate them on the offensive glass. And when they're on offense, Rutgers has done a nice job of breaking the pressure and getting the shots that they want, not being forced into quick shots. Hence, they've been able to control this tempo.
You see that about half-second difference between shot and game clock. El-Amin sets up the corner three from Hamilton. Halftime. The 7-Up halftime report is coming up with Chris Fowler and Digger Phelps. It was a sloppy shooting first half. Rutgers hit just 25% of its shots. They're within 7 of the #1 seed at the half. Now back to the studio, and once again, Chris and Digger.
Mike, thank you. Digger will join me in just a second. Connecticut, after the 1-for-8 start, still has the 7-point lead at halftime. Coming up on these 7-Up reports, scores and highlights.
New Jersey, Rutgers had 24 first half points.